Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode here in NHL 22. So in last episode, we took on the Anaheim Ducks in the first round of the playoffs, and we lost again in the first round. So I believe that's 4 straight seasons now where we've lost in round 1, and we haven't been back to that cup final in quite a few years. Also, we've been dealing with a lot of statistical growth problems that have really kind of derailed this team in a sense, because if we actually look at our draft board situation, well, not our draft board in specific, but if we look at our forward depth, apparently our forward depth is actually not that good. We only have one first line forward at the moment. We have 4 second liners and then a bunch of third liners, depth forwards and whatnot. So yeah, basically this team isn't as good as it says it is, but yeah, we definitely need to make some changes this offseason. And this offseason is probably going to be a pretty drastic one in terms of changes, because I do have some ideas to kind of get this team hopefully over the hump in winning a Stanley Cup eventually, because guys like, who is it, for example, Jacob Chikrin, he only has 1 year left on his deal going into this upcoming season. We might end up losing Soderstrom this offseason, same with like Dobson and Heinola and stuff like that. So this team might be a lot different next season. And then hopefully our goaltending can play a little bit better next year, because Pettersson's been a terrible playoff goalie. He's trying to ask for a lot of money, so we're going to probably end up qualifying him for now in this offseason. But yeah, basically our team just doesn't have the actual depth that it says it does. And hopefully guys like Shelley and whatnot can start producing, because he's listed as a third line checking forward, and he's signed for like 6 years, I believe, still at like $7 million, which is quite a bit. So we definitely need our top guns like Shelley to get going. And we are going to be trying to trade for a very good player in this episode as well, to try and get us to being an actual contending team. And it'll give us also a nice first line forward to play with Agostino, because Agostino definitely deserves to play with a really good shooters. So yeah, anyways, before we get into this draft and potentially making the biggest trade of this franchise mode series, we have one comment to go over, and that's from HawksFan88. He says, well, that sucks. Are you going to try and get Mitchkov? So I was talking to him on Twitter like last week, and I came to the consensus that our team basically just does not actually have the good amount of depth that I thought it did. So Matvei Mitchkov, obviously he's a really good player. We made him into this franchise mode. He was on the Dallas Stars. He still is on the Dallas Stars as of this moment. But if you look at Dallas, they are in a bad cap situation. They have a lot of guys signed for like $11 million for next season, a lot of guys locked up, and Matvei Mitchkov is 95 overall at 25 years of age, and he's a pending UFA. And also the Dallas Stars have not made the playoffs in this franchise mode so far, so there's a good chance Mitchkov could like go to free agency, and I feel like they will probably let him go to free agency just because they have so much cap locked up between this team, like all over the place. So I think that if we're going to try and trade for Matvei Mitchkov, I really would like to get him. Hopefully we can get him. His value has dropped off a lot as well, so I think we should be able to trade for his rights. And then before we get into the actual resign stage itself, we're going to try and send him an offer that's 85 to 95%. That's what one of my friends on Facebook was telling me. He was like, you should try 85 to 95%. So we're going to definitely try and do that if we can get Mitchkov, because Mitchkov does fit our first line according to a current coach's system. So he would fit with Agostino. And then obviously this guy is a really good player. Based on his stat-wise, like I said, he's never played in the playoffs before, but he's got 609 points. He's already got 342 career goals. If we could trade for this guy and then lock him up for 8 years, our top line will do a lot better, I think, in terms of offense, and maybe he's the type of player we need, because right now Shelley's not really cutting it, because Shelley's kind of degrading in terms of his offense and all that type of thing. So we are going to be trying to trade for Mitchkov at the draft, and hopefully we can get him for like a first round pick and a prospect or another forward or something like that. And then if that doesn't work, we could always trade away some other prospects, because there is guys like Rabbit on our team who have potential and whatnot, but might not reach that potential, that have good value, that we might be able to get Mitchkov straight up for. Because, like I said, Mitchkov's value has dropped off a lot because of the fact that he's a pending UFA. Because if we go to the player search option, and if we go just search and sort this by overall in the entire league, basically you can see that Matvei Mitchkov is basically up there as one of the best players in the league, top 5, I'd say, because he's probably in a sense better than Draisaitl and Matthews because he's younger. But yeah, that value has dropped off a lot. just because of the fact that he's pending UFAs. So if we could trade for him and then sign him, like I said, for an 8-year deal, I will definitely do that. And then we'll probably have to let go of some big players, like, for example, Barrett Hayton's more than likely leaving the team. I think there was also like Dylan Genther that's probably going to leave the team, that type of thing. So we're going to make a lot of drastic changes to this roster this offseason. So anyways, let's get into this draft, and then we'll get into the re-sign stage, and then I guess free agency will be still next episode. Hopefully we can pick up some good free agents as well in next episode to kind of round out our team a bit with the amount of youth that we have in our system and whatnot, because I'd like to integrate free agents with the youth, and then obviously if we could get Mitchkov, that would be the icing on the cake, I think. So let's get into the draft and try and make a trade with Dallas right away. So let's go to proposed trade. And I think what we're going to be trying to offer them is our first round pick, because I don't really need our first round pick. And I'm also going to try and give them Sadikov, because Sadikov hasn't really been performing. So we are going to try that. So Mitchkov, I know they don't want you to trade you away right now, but we are going to try our best to get him. So we'll give him our first round pick, which does not have enough value. Would be over 45 skaters, which that comes into effect with moving away Sadikov. He's an interesting player. I'd give him that, but he hasn't been the same since his 40-goal season. That might go through. They actually do want Sadikov. They don't want our first rounder, which is kind of weird considering they've missed the playoffs many times. But let's see if that goes through. A first in Sadikov for the rights to Matvei Mitchkov. That is rejected. Okay, so we're going to have to add some stuff, which I'm okay with. Let's throw in... What do we got here that I can move out that I don't want? Geez, they don't really like a whole lot. Oh, that's kind of questionable. Maybe I could get rid of Pedersen. I don't know if I should be getting rid of a medium elite goalie, though. What else we got here for prospects? It's funny that they want Redmond, because Redmond was originally their player. Shishkinov. I want to keep Shishkinov, kind of. But most of the players they want only have 1 year left. They do want a Nisimov. But can I not trade him away since he's injured? They'd be over 45 skaters now. The question is, do I take Sadikov off this, and do I go with getting rid of Pedersen? We'd be over 45 skaters as well still, so we'd still have to add stuff to this deal. Yeah, we need to get rid of a forward. Who do we want to get rid of? Based on trade value-wise... We could get rid of some of these unsigned prospects, but that wouldn't count. They do want Lawrence, but I don't really know if I should be moving Lawrence. Farinacci they don't really want. I don't want to move Geeky. He's got 1 year left as well, so he probably wouldn't actually get traded away. I think we might have to try Lawrence. He actually only has 1 year as well. But, yeah, I think we might have to do Lawrence, a first rounder and Lawrence. That might be a bit much to give up. I'll see if I could snag back a pick in this, but giving up that is going to be a little bit questionable. Let's just throw in their fourth. Actually, I don't want to pick. I don't care about the picks, and of course there's going to be an interruption. I hate when a game just decides to interrupt. I need to go back and try and get this deal to go through, but I think we got to give up Lawrence in this deal, unfortunately. But at least we get Mitchkov, so let's go with Mitchkov. And like I said, we're going to get rid of Lawrence just because we need to get rid of a roster player, and he's got good value. And then we'll also throw in our first round pick. We could always add more picks if needed. So Lawrence in a first for Matvei Mitchkov. That is also rejected, apparently. We have multiple seconds, so we will also give you... Let's give you a third round pick for now. See if that works. That's accepted. Okay, there he goes. So we have acquired Matvei Mitchkov's rights. It might have cost us a lot of first to third and Lawrence, but I think it makes sense. And we got ourselves a very good goal scorer, potentially, as long as I could re-sign him. So now we don't have a pick until what round? Until the second round, I think. Which is interesting. Like, let's view the draft class. Wait, not the draft class. When do we have our picks draft board? Because I honestly almost don't care about this draft. We have 2 seconds, a third, 2 fourths, and pretty much 2 in every round. So let's get to these picks fast, or else this episode is going to be pretty long, I would assume. So at number 36, let's see what we could snag up here. There might be a medium elite right here. Okay, yeah, this guy looks good. Maybe a 1-year ETA. So, you know, we're going to take Zach Hordichuk. I think I mentioned him before, but we'll take him. 71 medium top 4. So there's a pretty good pick for a second rounder. He actually does have X factors as well. Bouncer and quick pick. So, yeah, this guy might be a good defensive defenseman like that steal. And apparently Aronik went to Philadelphia. That's actually kind of cool. Interesting. But we got the rights to Mitchkov. Now we got to sign him after the draft and not advance day, because or else we probably will have to pay him a lot more money. But we could try the 85% trick after we are done the draft. So, yeah, this draft class doesn't actually look that good at all. I'm just going to take Lawrence. Top 9, not bad, I guess. Maybe he becomes something. But yeah, this draft class does not look too good. So, it sucks that we kind of stockpiled on draft picks this year. Let's just take a goaltender, because why not? Guillermo Correa. What a name. And he's from, where is that, Hungary? Yeah, I think that's Hungary. That's kind of cool. And he's a goalie, medium starter, might as well. Because if we could find a goalie replacement for Pettersson, I think that's a good option, because Pettersson's just been terrible in the playoffs. So, eventually Pettersson might leave the team. We could always just take another goaltender, but he doesn't look very good. Antoine Delisle. I'm trying to get through this draft as fast as possible, just because I know the resign stage is going to be probably the hardest part. Hey, there's a goalie named Trevor Van Riemsdyk. That's kind of funny. Yeah, this draft class looks pretty terrible. Let's just take this Brian Kobasu dude. Why not? And he's a medium bottom 6. Yikes. Bottom 6 players going in the 4th round. Yeah, this is going to be probably one of the worst drafts we've seen in a long time. For our next pick, Cam Agon. Anybody with some decent overalls? Maybe this dude. No weakness, apparently. Let's just take Hemingway. Might as well. Don't know how good he was, but let's take a look and see. He was apparently a medium bottom 6. Damn. He looked better than that. Let's into our next pick. Here in the 5th round. There's a fringe starter. Might as well take him to give us more goalie depth, to be honest, even though he's 19 already. I'm just trying to give us more solidity in terms of every single position. And maybe some of these guys become trade bait if they actually have value. Because we're just trying to contend right now, and we're trying to win a Stanley Cup as soon as possible. So, because if we could win a cup as soon as possible, then maybe I'll end this series a little bit earlier than the 25-year limit. Just because I'd like to get to some retro throwback like franchise modes eventually. Christopher Rolston. You know what, we're going to take you since you're from the 67s. Why not? 7th D. Jeez. Yeah, this is a terrible draft. But at least we got Matvei Mitchkov, and that's all I really cared about in this offseason. This guy might have decent puck skills. Not that it really matters. Yeah, well, they're going to take him. Might as well. Low top 6D, OFD. It is what it is. And our last pick of the draft, I think, unless we have 2 picks in the 7th round. Let's just take this German Christian Langwieder. I don't even know how to pronounce that, but we'll just take him. Might as well. Low bottom 6. Yeah, this is a very bad draft. And we actually apparently have one more pick, which is the last pick of the draft. And there is a gem, so I guess we'll just go with the gem. We don't know anything about this guy. He looks like he has no strength, no weakness. But we're going to just take him since he's a gem. And he was a low elite. Are you kidding me? So our best pick might have been the last pick of the draft, other than Hordichuk. Korea's a decent pick, I think, because it gives us a starting goalie option potentially for the future. But the rest of those picks were not that great. How good was Udsorf in terms of low elite overall-wise? I was almost about to advance today, but I just realized we need to still offer Mitchkov his 85% contract. This is going to be expensive, probably. Okay, it's not actually as bad, but if we could get him for 85%, that's not too bad. We do have some big players that we're going to have to let go of because of this, but we need to get him for 8 years because he's just that good of a goal scorer. So for 8 years, he wants, let's type this into our calculator, 12,775. We will try and do it at 90% just because I don't know if 80% trick will work. So we'll try and times that by 0.9. So it looks like I might be able to get him down to like 11.5, which if I could do that, that would be a very good deal. Let's do 11.6 just to play it a little bit safe. and see if he'll accept that. Hopefully he accepts that, and then once we get into the resign stage, then we have to try and figure out what we do with the rest of our cap, which means probably letting go of Hayton, as Soderstrom, if he's demanding a lot of money, probably would end up leaving, but I would like to try and keep him around because obviously we need him in terms of helping out our back end. Genther's more than likely gone. Kurnakovic is more than likely gone. Dobson's probably gone. Yeah, there's probably some big names that are going to be leaving the team for sure. Okay, so let's see if Mitchkov accepts as we advance to the resign phase. Do we want to bring back our assistant coaches? I don't know if that's what's been dragging out our team's performance at all either. You know what? I'm not going to re-sign them. We might just bring back, see if we could find some better replacements for those spots. And we got some scouts to bring back, so we'll do that. Not that I really care about the scouts that much, but I do to an extent, but at the same time, it's just really annoying having to re-sign them at the same time in the year as the players. And I don't really like when these guys pop up over your players, because obviously we want to know about Mitchkov first and not these scouts, right? So we got to get these guys back. Maybe we need better scouts too, because some of them aren't doing that well of a job. But yeah, hopefully that last pick in the draft was pretty good, because it's in low lead, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so let's continue, and Mitchkov is re-signed with us 8-year extension at 11.6. That's a very good contract, I think. To get a goal scorer that scored 60 goals in the past, that is a really good contract. I really like that. That's awesome, because him and Agostino are going to be together for a number of years, which is great. But that does mean, like I said, we are going to have to lose some players. So, let's take a look and see what these guys want. So we're just going to qualify Pedersen first, because I know for a fact he's going to be demanding a lot of money. $6 million, okay, never mind. His asking price came down, but I don't still want to give him $6 million. I don't think he's worth that much, at least at the moment. We are going to be letting go of Wallstead just because the AHL team is kind of stacked and we need to get in some of our younger prospects. So Wallstead, thank you for your time here. You were amazing AHL goalie, but you just never really clicked at the NHL level. In terms of Hunter Jones, do I want to bring him back? You know what? I think I will. He's a solid enough backup goalie for now. We'll just give him 1 year at like 1.5 if he wants to accept that. I think that's a decent contract. In terms of... Let me just go to the RFAs. We'll qualify all of our RFAs for now. Gallagher's asking price should come down and stuff like that too. But we're just going to qualify all these guys since we can. But some of them I will probably try and end up signing to decent deals. We're probably going to have to let go of most of the UFAs that are in the AHL just to make room for 2 low elite prospects, I think. Let me actually go to unsigned for a second. How good was that low elite we drafted? Probably like a 50-something, right? Let's sort by potential. He was a 67? Holy crap. That's actually amazing. The last pick in the 2030 draft was a 67 grinder. Wow. And low elite potential. I mean, he's probably not going to become anything good offensively, but if this guy becomes a good penalty killer, I am very happy with that. And his name is Christoph Ustorf. Wasn't that a guy that used to play in, like, for Berlin in Germany in real life? I'm trying to think. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure there was an Ustorf guy. I don't remember if his first name is Christoph, though. Oh, no, it was Stefan Ustorf. Yeah, it was Stefan Ustorf, I think. I just remember that last name where it came from for some reason. But, yeah, that guy looks like he's going to be pretty good. We could always sign him to his ELC, but I'm not going to sign any of these guys to their ELC just yet, because I would like your guys' opinion on that. Galiev, though, is going to get signed for the AHL to replace Wallstead. And that should be good for that. Connor Geeky, what do you want? Only $3 million for 1 year. That's not too bad. Means he's probably at a statistical growth, but I could lock him up for a few years. Let's do 1 year for now, just to see how he is. But I could always sign him for longer. But yeah, 1 year at $3 million. That's actually a pretty solid price for him, I'd say. But then we get into our UFAs, and this is where it's going to get interesting. So let's start and go to the bottom of this list and let go of some of these prospects that aren't going to pan out, because I know there's a couple of them, or quite a few. Vorobev, 68 at 20, medium top 9, was a 3rd rounder. Looks okay, but I don't really know if he's going to make the NHL. I'll leave him for now. Low top 6, 68 as well at 20. Some of those guys are kind of intriguing. I'm definitely signing Kagorodov and McIntyre because both those are low elites with actual X factors. So we want those guys to play in the AHL for sure. I'd also like to sign Dolly Wall. Kind of, but he doesn't look like he's going to be that good of a player. He might just be like a pure AHLer. Yeah, I'm going to let go of Dolly Wall. He's not going to sign with us. We are also going to be letting go of Fitzmaurice just to free up some room in the AHL. I'm also going to let go of Sylvester in the AHL. Damn, yeah, there's a lot of AHLers that are going to be leaving. So we're going to sign Sims and Vorobev just as replacements for the AHL team, because I'd like to get as much good young talent into the minors as possible. We are probably going to let go of Howe, or I could keep Howe around. But I don't know if I should keep some of these 75s instead. Like, these guys are fringe NHLers almost. Like, some of them have some decent attributes. Like, some of them are from, like, way back in year 1. I apologize if this episode does go long, because we still have to look at, like, the trading block and free agent pool and whatnot. I'm going to let these 3 guys go, I think. Or maybe I'll get a couple of them back, because I'd like to get this, make sure the AHL team stays good so then our prospects develop well. And yeah, I'm going to let go of Denisov and Mayorov, free up some space in the AHL a little bit. We are going to let go of Ginning since he was our depth defenseman. I don't really care about him. And then we got the rest of our UFA pool, which Ville Heinola, we signed him last offseason, but he wasn't really that great of a fit here. And besides, I think Guerrero could take over his spot on the top 6. So I am going to let go of him just to free up some cap space as well, make sure we have enough to sign some big-name free agents. We are going to sign LaRose again because LaRose is a decent player. $3 million is not really that much for him, so we're just going to do a 1-year deal. And maybe I'll try and talk him down to 2.9. Kyle Kernkovic I don't think is going to come back, even though we just traded for him in last episode or 2 episodes ago. $5 million is a bit expensive, and he really didn't do anything when he was with us. Like 9 points in 21 games isn't that much, and then had nothing in the playoffs. So yeah, I'm going to let go of Kernkovic, and just to make sure we have enough cap space to sign some big boys. Barrett Hayden's not going to come back, I don't think, either. Same with Genther. Dobson, I wouldn't mind keeping Dobson around. I wouldn't mind because he's not a bad top 4, but let me deal with Soderstrom first. Ooh, 9.2 for 8 years. That's a bit of an overpayment. For 1 year, he wants $11 million, but oh man. I might have to let go of Soderstrom and then see if his asking price drops in free agency, because I'm definitely not signing him an 8-year deal, because if we look at his stats, this was his best year by far. He's a good, like, defenseman for sure, offensively, good defensively as well. But he had 160-point season, and all of a sudden he thinks he's worth, like, an 8-year extension at $9 million. I don't really know if he's worth that. Barrett Hayden, like I said to some of you guys, I think he's gone, but he only wants $6 million, which is not really a whole lot. But for now, we are going to let him go just so we can kind of see what we have out there in free agency first, because maybe there's a better option out there, because I know, like, Jack Hughes, I think, is a pending free agent. There's also, like, Stützle, I think. So there's going to be some good options out there for centermen. So for now, we're going to let go of Barrett Hayden, but we could always bring him back. Dylan Genther. Dylan Genther, do I bring him back? Probably not. I don't really know. What does he want? $5 million for 6 years is quite a bit. He doesn't really want a whole lot. I could do a 1-year deal. I don't really know if he would fit on our team still that much, because he hasn't really been the most consistent player. He's putting up like 50 to, only like 30 to 50 points a season. Lately, he's been more of a 50-point guy, but that's because of more power play time. For now, I'm going to let him walk as well, just because we might make some changes with that top 6 in general. I'd like to keep Dobson, I think, for now. Just give him a 1-year deal, which might be a little bit of an overpayment to get him for 1 year for $5 million, but I just want to make sure we have solidity on our defensive core. And I think for now, Soderstrom probably will end up leaving. Yeah, I think. Let's advance today, see if we get all those guys first before we get to Soderstrom. Because, yeah, Soderstrom's the big one, but if we can't get Soderstrom back, which I don't think we will unless we just give him a 1-year deal until he drops back off again. Looks like some people are rejecting the contract, which is kind of dumb. So LaRose has been rejecting. Same with Jones. Okay, and Geeky also rejected. $3 million for 1 year. Let's just give him what he wants. It's cheap. And then yeah, LaRose 1 year. We'll just give you $3 million. See if you'll accept that. And then Soderstrom, like I said, for now, I think I might have to let him go to free agency. And yeah, we'll just try and get Jones back still if I can. Let's advance a day again, see if we get those guys. And looks like all of them except for LaRose is accepted. Yeah. Okay, so LaRose, we're going to have to give you a little bit more money. Probably because you're playing in our top 6. Let's try 3.3 for 1 year. And then, yeah, all these guys will probably not be making that much. Like, I can't see... Yeah, Gallagher's not going to want that much. Pedersen's going to be probably the most expensive out of the ones remaining, other than Soderstrom. But, yeah, there you go. LaRose is accepted. So, I think for now we let go of Soderstrom just to see if his asking price comes down or if there's better free agents available, because I don't think he's worth 8 years. Like, $9 million isn't terrible, but I feel like he's going to drop back off, and this is going to be a terrible contract because he's going to be 37 by the time that contract ends. But if we do 1 year, he wants 11.3, which is a bit expensive for 1 year only. So I think for now we're going to let go of Victor Soderstrom, but there is a chance we could bring him back if he drops his asking price in next episode. So kind of remind me about that, guys, just in case I forget. So Soderstrom is gone for now, and the rest of these guys are qualified, which is good. Okay, perfect. So now we could advance, that means over to free agency, and we can kind of see what we have for our roster ahead of time. And yeah, hopefully we still have a decent looking roster for the most part. Guerrero is accepted. Bykov, it's good to see. Okay, so what do we got in terms of our contract situation still? So if we go over here, we got 25 million in cap space, which is pretty solid. Gallagher and Schulz are still holding out, and same with Pedersen. Pedersen might end up, if Pedersen gets qualified by another team, do we take the compensation is my question. I don't think we really receive anything for 5.5 is the only thing. Unless the team wants to send him a multi-year deal. But we could always take compensation for him. Gallagher and Schulz, obviously we could get these guys dirt cheap. I'm fine with that. So yeah, we pretty much have like 23 million probably around in cap space. Unless we decide to bring back Pedersen, which then we'll probably be down to like under 20 million in cap space, I would assume. But let's take a look at what we got on a roster, and then we'll take a look at the free agents available. So basically right now we got Geeky and Farinacci, Sapolvyov as centers. So we definitely need better centers. 3 players right now. 4, 5, 6, 7, potentially 8. So it looks like we could use always some more wingers as well. Yeah, we could definitely use more forwards. I think our right wingers are fine for now because we could always do like Mitchkov top line for sure, Shelley second line, Sadikov third line, and then Redmond would be fourth line, maybe. Something like that. Then we'd have like Agostino first line. LaRose is probably more third liner. McGillis would be fourth line. Same with Shishkinov. I don't know about Anisimov, maybe a depth forward. Yeah, we definitely need more centers for sure. That's the one thing we definitely need. And then we have 2, 4, 6. So we technically have a top 6 defenseman, but I don't really think DeMaio's ready yet. I think we want to run Guerrero and maybe Sasaki as the top 6. And then Tukinen and Dobson could potentially still be top 4. But we could definitely use a good defenseman as well. And then goalie-wise, we could use a goalie if we decide to let go of Pedersen if he gets qualified, but I really don't know if there's a better option out there. So, yeah, we could pretty much use a whole lot of stuff. So, final few things we got to do. Take a look at the free agents that we could potentially sign, and then we'll take a look at the trading block just in case there's anything out there as well. So, let's start off with centerman, and we will sort this by UFAs. So, the best centerman available is Tim Stützle. As I was mentioning, he wants $10 million, so that's a lot of money. But he is a pretty solid player, looks like. And 60 to 70 points, not too bad. Similar to Hayton in a sense. There's also Jack Hughes, wants $9 million, but once again, Jack Hughes as well. Kind of inconsistent, 50 to 60 points. So these two guys might be a little bit of an overpayment, especially at the term they want. There's also Philip Heel, who's probably on statistical growth. Nolan Patrick, Nick Robertson. That might not be bad. I don't really know if he fits our team. Maybe our first line. What type of player is he? He's a playmaker. So I think a chemistry thing is playmaker, playmaker, sniper, which Agostino's a playmaker, Robertson be a playmaker, and same with our sniper would be with Mitchkov. So he would be a cheaper replacement for Barrett Hayton if we wanted to bring in Nick Robertson. But yeah, there's a lot of good centers out there. We could probably turn any of these guys into a good center as long as they play with Mitchkov and Agostino. They should put up points. Like Turikov, even 26 years of age. Doesn't fit anything apparently though. But yeah, there's definitely options out there. Coletta. Some of these EA generated guys might be intriguing. Haviland. All power play lines. But yeah, there's definitely centers out there that we could bring in to help out this team. If you guys see anything that you'd want me to try and look at. Okay guys, sorry about that. There was a little bit of a problem when I was recording. I was recording through all these free agents and then I realized that my mic had started having some glitch problems. So we are back now with the rest of the free agents. There was probably a little cut in this video. That is why. But anyways, for left wingers, the best one being is Brady Tkachuk, but he wants a lot of term, and actually not a lot of term. He wants a lot of money though, so I don't really know if he'd be a great fit for this team. We could still bring back Dylan Guenther. 5.875 for 5 years isn't terrible. We could try and talk him down to like a 1-year deal or something like that, but there's a lot of other veteran options out there as well. Or we could always just bring back Kernkovic, but he wants $5 million, which is a bit steep. I'd probably rather have somebody that's on a cheaper contract for that type of overall. We could always bring back also Braden Tracy, who we traded away. Or let go of actually, and he signed in Ottawa, yeah. We could always bring him back. He looks like he seems to be putting up decent amount of points when he gets power play time. So maybe he's a good third liner if we really want to bring him in. And there's also some random EA generated guys like Donovan Little. Might be a decent bottom 6 option if we want to bring in him for the bottom 6 or not. Like I said, we also have guys in the minors that could jump up too, some of them, but I'd like to make this team as good as possible. Considering we just brought in Mitchkov, we definitely want to be a contending team this year. Give him his first taste of playoff action, you know. Right wing wise, the best being available is Colin White. Lucas Raymond's also there. That's actually pretty good. 5 years at 6. That's not bad. He puts up a decent amount of points. Not really a huge goal scorer, but 60 points a season. Might be decent to bring in Lucas Raymond, to be honest, but he looks like he might not fit our top 6 that well. Dylan Dubé's there, not a bad one. Simon Holmstrom, Martin Kaut. So yeah, there's definitely some veteran options out there if we want to bring in some forwards. Also some EA generated guys like Darren Walker. Might be a decent option for like the third line, fourth line, something like that. I don't know. There's also Carlson, 24 years of age. Might be decent. Was a former first round pick. Has played some seasons before and he's had like 30 points in some years. So not too bad of a player it seems like, but he is minus a lot, which I don't really like. But then again, that Vegas team might be pretty bad, so you never know. So yeah, definitely some stuff out there if we want to make our team stronger on the forward core, which I think is definitely what we need to do. Defensively, the best is Elias Salamonson, who looks pretty damn good, but $13 million for 6 years, or 1 year is a lot of money, especially for this amount of points. Because when you think about it, Soderstrom's putting around this amount of points, and Soderstrom's a little bit worse overall-wise, a little bit older, but he wants a lot less money. But $6 million, we could still try and bring back Soderstrom, but like I said, for 1 year, it's going to get very steep if we wanted to bring him in. There's this Mackey guy who looks kind of intriguing. He's a DFD, wants 4 years at $7 million, which is not terrible. Does have X factors, but this guy's pure defensive defenseman. Had some really good plus minuses in Pittsburgh, so maybe we want to bring him in. Considering he's a career plus 163, AHL, or not AHL wise, playoff wise, he's a plus 11. Yeah, this guy seems kind of intriguing, to be honest, but I don't know if we have the cap space to kind of get him. Well, we do, but we want to kind of bring in ourselves a good forward, a couple good forwards as well to play with like Mitchkov and whatnot to make our team a better contender. But yeah, there's also like Jamie Drysdale, but he wants a lot of money. There's also former players like Sam Rukov available. And yeah, there's some really good defenders out there. But it's kind of crazy that like 81 wants like $5 million. There's this Riley dude who might be decent. All penalty kill lines, but he's an OFD. This guy's got 99 passing and 88 offensive awareness. And if we put this guy in the power play with like say Chikrin, Mitchkov, those type of guys, this guy should produce really decently. He's only played 1 year. So this guy might be a good defensive option. He's only 23. Bring him in for the top 6 or something like that, because I don't know if Guerrero's going to be ready. And yeah, this guy might do really good on the power play. Only wants 1.8 for 2 years too. That might be a really good steal of a contract. I honestly think he might be a good option to bring in. And then we could test him out with a lot of our good players and see if he becomes that elite OFD to replace like Chikrin, because Chikrin's contract comes to an end next offseason. So goalie-wise, if we wanted to bring in a goalie, there is some available, but like I think Soderstrom, or not Soderstrom, what's his name? Soderstrom's the guy in the Houston series. Pettersson, that's who it is. I think Pettersson might be still the best option in terms of overall rating. He's not going to be a good playoff goalie, but we could always try and keep him around still. Connor Hellebuyck is still there. If we want to bring in a new backup instead of Jones, we could let go of Jones somehow, because Connor Hellebuyck seems to assimilate pretty good when he does play in the NHL, at least with good teams. And yeah, that's pretty much what is out there in terms of free agents, and I think that's pretty much it, other than, okay, let's take a quick look at the trading block. I couldn't remember what I was recording at the end of when my Elgato stopped working, so I gotta make sure I'm recording the right parts. So we got nothing in Anaheim, nothing in Boston too. Damn, trading block seems kind of bare for free agency right now. Kevin LeBlanc is the only player on the block so far. A lot of prospects that we don't need. Nothing there either. Doesn't really seem to be a whole lot so far. Okay, now we got some. Jake Bean on 3 years left is a bit expensive. Hronik, Sanheim, don't really like the term on those guys' contracts. Like, we'd be more looking for a 1 year guy. Nicholson, a goaltender, 1 year left for this medium elite goalie that plays probably like trash. Yeah, this guy's not a great goalie. He's better in the playoffs than he is regular season though, which is kind of interesting. Nothing there in Florida. Quentin Byfield on 1 year left. That might actually be not a bad option for a center. Doesn't look like he puts up a lot of points though. How did he go from 55 points to 18 points? Gets taken off the power play, I guess. Yeah, his ice time dropped off a cliff and he only put up 18 points. Interesting. Might fit our forward line too and our power play line. So Byfield on 1 year left. I don't really know what we'd give up to get him. He has very little value. That actually might be the most intriguing thing. When we bring him in, he could potentially play on the top line with Mitchkov and with Agostino. Or we could play him on the second line with like Shelley and stuff like that. So Byfield's kind of intriguing. We could definitely just give up like a pick and get him if we wanted to bring him in. Joel Eriksson Ek with 2 years left. I don't like that he has 2 years left, so no thanks. What else we got here? Larson, Glass, and Kalyanuk. Not really anything intriguing there in Nashville. Forsling, Konechny, Vucinovic on 1 year left. Not really that intriguing. He's got a lot of value as well. Miro Heiskanen on 2 years left. $7 million, though, is like, eh. But $7 million, it might fit all of our defensive pairings. He wouldn't be a bad replacement for Soderstrom. But $7 million for one more season after this, not too bad. He did also play with Mitchkov then at some point. Yeah, he did. So maybe he'll have a good chemistry with Mitchkov. I don't know. So we could try and trade for Heiskanen, but his price is going to be a little bit steep. Robertson's not bad for defensive core-wise. But I would probably prefer to sign most of the players we need. Maybe we'll trade for Byfield still, though, considering his value is so low. Fleury, Rathbone, Gennaziev, not a bad defenseman. Schmidt, pretty much that's it in Tampa. Yeah, not a lot on the trading block that's really intriguing this offseason, just kind of surprising. Nick Ehlers, but 3 years left, and Velarde on 1 year left isn't bad either, but his value is still pretty high. He does have a lot of points in the last 2 years as well. 74 points season last year. Doesn't fit any of our forward core. So if we're going to trade for somebody this offseason, I'd say it'd probably be Quinton Byfield, just because his value is so low. Like, his morale might have dropped off and stuff like that, so he might actually be better than an 85. And if we brought him in to help out our forward core, I think he'd fit into our top 6 pretty well. And then we just have to sign some other centers, like a good center for the top line, maybe, or the second line. Then we could also just find some other players to kind of round out our team. And then we should be a good team for next year, is what I'm thinking. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to free agency. We might make some trades as well this offseason. And yeah, hopefully the team looks good next season with the addition of Mitchkov. So let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.